Official spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Qatar, Mariel Al-Ansari, stated the goal is to continue negotiations in hope of reaching a sustainable truce between Israel and Hamas. In Venezuela, the closing acts of the days in defense of the Essequibo continue, and the main authority of the country participated in these rallies together with the people. In Panama, the court has ruled mining law 406 as unconstitutional, as was demanded by people demonstrating in the street for the 36th consecutive day. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Rosabal from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Israel and Hamas agreed on a two-day extension of a truce that has paused the devastating Israeli bombing of Gaza. Any group of Israeli hostages were to be freed Tuesday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Mariel Al-Ansari, official spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, addressed the future of the Israel-Palestine extended truce.
The main focus right now is, and our hope is, to reach a sustainable truce that would lead to further negotiations and eventually to an end to this iteration of violence, to this war. And we have always said that we need the push of the whole international community to make sure that that happens. However, we are working with what we have. And what we have right now is a provision to the agreement that allows us to extend days as long as Hamas is able to guarantee the release of at least 10 hostages from their side, and therefore this is what we have at the moment.
The director of UNRWA in Gaza stressed the importance of getting aid to all those in need and of getting fuel to the water wells in northern Gaza.
So we've come up through the Israeli occupied zone north of Wadi Gaza and through Gaza City to reach Jabalia. We've got 6 trucks of aid for the people in Jabalia. We're also going to go and look at some of the water wells and get fuel to water wells, and also get some medical supplies to the Jabalia Health Clinic. We have got some very brave UNRWA staff members here who've stayed in Jabalia, working for their community, keeping their health clinic open and servicing shelters. So it's been really important that we get this support and this aid to our staff here so they can support people here in Jabalia.
As the humanitarian ceasefire between Israel and Hamas reaches its 5th day, this truce is met with skepticism by many, which continue to see how the humanitarian situation in Gaza keeps deteriorating. A correspondent in the Gaza Strip, Noha Razin, bringing us the dates on the situation.
On the 5th day of the truce between Hamas and Israel, actually this humanitarian truce has opened the eyes of Palestinians here on the ground about creating a humanitarian situation in Gaza. Here in Gaza now, only 3 hospitals, the Shuhada Al-Aqsa Hospital in Mir Gaza, and also Al-Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, and Al-Najjar Hospital in Rafah. These main 3 hospitals are the only one operating to treat more than 2.3 million Palestinians living here in the Gaza Strip. Egypt, yes, did allow hundreds of humanitarian trucks into the Gaza Strip over the past days. The trucks are full of water, food, specifically canned food, oil, flour, and also fuel and gas. However, what we are feeling here on the ground is very slow. Why? The reason is because of the slow distribution by the UN and other organizations because of the lack of fuel. The UN has reached a point where they don't have fuel to fill up their cars and their buses. However, we are hoping, people on the ground, that starting from tomorrow the process will be faster and more aid will be delivered to Palestinian people around southern Gaza and also to those in northern Gaza. Noha Razin, teleSUR, Gaza.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva begins a tour of the Middle East with first stop in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, two countries that will join the BRICS in January. In the Arab country, which from 2024 will be part of the BRICS group of emerging economies, of which Brazil is a member, Lula da Silva will participate in the meeting organized by the aeronautics company Embraer and the Brazilian Agency for the Promotion of Exports and Investments. The Brazilian president will then travel to Qatar, from there to the United Arab Emirates to participate in the Dubai Climate Summit. Finally, Lula da Silva will land in Germany on December 3rd, where he is expected to meet with Chancellor Olaf Scholz and sign a series of bilateral agreements on the environment and the economy. Among the issues to be discussed are the negotiations on the trade agreement between the European Union and Mercosur. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English for find news in different formats, new days, and more. Our study is coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Venezuela, national authorities lead an act in defense of the Essequibo in the state of Zulia. An important event is being held at the Barra Theater in Maracaibo, led by the Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, together with the governor of the states of Zulia, Manuel Rosales. The event Rosales condemned the silence maintained by the international community in the face of the actions carried out by the government of Guyana, which create a negative indication for the sovereignty of any nation. Venezuela is going to polls again, this time to give the people say in the territorial disputes with Guyana over the Essequibo area. Here are some further details.
The Guyanese and Venezuelan media publish information about the controversy over the Essequibo almost every day. But what has happened in the last 2 years to put this issue in the priority agenda of both countries? Let's review this context on the vote next December 3rd. The claim of the Essequibo territory has been an historical demand for Venezuela. The debate has grown in the last years after the judicialization of Guyana in the International Court of Justice. In Venezuela, a social movement and actions of the parliament have been implemented, which resulted in the request of a consultative referendum to the electoral power to ask for actions for the defense of the Essequibo territory.
To carry out this referendum with all the people of Venezuela, that all the people of Venezuela participate in this new electoral party. And that from that 3rd of December, the only voice of Venezuela will come out saying and shooting the song of Venezuela is burned in the Essequibo.
The Venezuelan National Electoral Council approved 5 questions related to the rejection of international treaties and the actions taken by Guyana, as well as the endorsement of the actions and legal reasons of the Venezuelan state, and poses a 5th question of specific actions of the territory.
What the people are being asked to do then is not to decide whether it is ours or not. That is ours. What we are really asking for is their support or their decision in any case on policies to be carried out regarding this matter.
The electoral power has set the schedule for the process, which includes audit, electoral campaign, simulation, and electoral event until the voting. More than 20 million people are able to vote, and the campaign begins on Monday, November 6. The governing party announced 335 rallies throughout the country, one for each municipality, calling for the approval of the referendum.
We will lend a hand to those who support the Venezuelan opposition as long as they are purchased for Venezuela. We will lend a hand to those who think different or those who do not want to get involved in politics. This is not a matter of politics. It is a matter of life or death. It is a matter of self-respect or strength or sovereignty.
The referendum has triggered many reactions from the President of Guyana, the United States, and other regional multilateral organizations. For Venezuela, it is a peaceful way to ratify its right over the territory.
teleSUR, Caracas, Venezuela. The leadership from the U.S. Army First Security Force, System Regate, and the Guyana Defense Force met November 27th and the 28th in Guyana. In an official statement, the U.S. Embassy in Georgetown said the U.S. and Guyana Defense Forces discussed a common engagement to include strategic planning sessions and processes to enhance both countries' military readiness and capabilities to respond to security threats. Adding that since 2022, the staff has conducted several joint training exercises with the GDF to strengthen their capacity and capability at the tactical and operational levels. The staff advisor stated, "We are thankful for the opportunity to train with the GDF as our partners and friends. We look forward to defending the partnership in the weeks and months to come." GDF Lieutenant Colonel Andy Pompey said, "As we witness the positive outcomes of this training, we are confident that the benefits will be enduring, impacting only our force operational capabilities, but also the professional growth of individual members." On Tuesday, the Supreme Court of Justice of Panama decreed as unconstitutional Law 406, which establishes the illegality of the mining operations contract between the state and the Canadian transnational company. The decision was anonymous and the information was made public by the President of the Court, Maria Eugenia Lopez, after 5 days of permanent sessions. The ruling was received with jubilation by the people and organizations that for weeks have been keeping a vigil at the highest court awaiting the decision. Since October 20th, thousands of citizens organized protests in rejection of the contract with the Canadian subsidiary First Quantum. As part of the celebration of the 100th anniversary of Panama's independence, the President of the Supreme Court of Panama, Maria Eugenia Lopez, made a decision official.
As President of the Supreme Court of Justice, I communicate to the nation that the magistrates that make up the plenary have unanimously decided to declare unconstitutionally all Law 406 of October 20, 2023. This means that such a law is expelled from the normative system that governs the country.
Meanwhile, on Tuesday in Panama, educators mobilized to the facility of the Ministry of Education in the province of Veraguas to demand the payment of the second half of November. Authorities of the Panamanian Ministry of Education confirmed on Tuesday that the institution began to withhold the payment of the second half of November to teachers who have not shown up to teach their classes after the institution made a call to return to the classroom last November 21st due to the national strike and rejection of Law 406. According to the National Directorate of Human Resources, the withholding of the salary was applied in the half of the November to 70,495 teachers throughout the country. In a sense, Eddie Pinto, leader of the National Union of Educators of Panama, affirmed that the teachers' union will sue the minister, the vice minister, and the directors involved in the measure. The governments of Belarus and Venezuela set up a high-level joint commission as part of the construction of a 10-year roadmap. The President of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, held a meeting on Tuesday with the Vice President of Planning of Venezuela and the President of the Mixed Commission, Ricardo Menendez, to establish the working days between the delegation of both nations towards a new stage of growth and mutual benefit for the deployment of the people. The Mixed Commission will work in strategic economical areas such as transportation, petroleum, industry, tourism, health, and education, among others.
The challenges are towards the future. The challenges are towards a roadmap for the next 10 years to assume the vision from the point of view of the financial system, of a new mechanism from the internal financial point of view of the relationship, new mechanism from the logistic point of view, new sensitive area from the point of view of development of the binational relationship, and above all, a vision that both countries share. No one has the right to pretend or adapt the internal development vision of the countries. No one has the right to impose sanctions or coercive measures in the development of each one of us. That is why the shared vision is assumed in a roadmap for the next 10 years.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In India, after 17 days of intense work, rescue teams saved 41 men trapped in a collapsed road tunnel in Uttarakhand state. The workers began to be pulled out through an escape pipe on Tuesday night after the last meters of rubble were drilled by hand. The first man was brought out at around 8 p.m. local time. Ambulances and helicopters were on standby at the tunnel entrance to take the man to the hospital nearby. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called on the operation an amazing example of humanity and teamwork. The workers became trapped after a landslide in the early hours of November 12th caused bar of the tunnel roof to collapse and become blocked by more than 60 meters of dense concrete rubble, rock, and twisted metal. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz on Tuesday defended his government's record spending on military financial aid to Ukraine before the federal parliament after a court ruling on crucial debt rules triggered the budget crisis. Scholz argued that Berlin's position as one of Kiev's biggest supporters, along with the United States, is of essential importance for Ukraine. On the other hand, he added that he will be not responsible to cut off support and warned that doing so would jeopardize the future of this country. In a sense, he also declared that his government will continue to support Kiev as long as necessary. Scholz's comments come against the backdrop of the German Supreme Court ruling that the government violated a constitutional rule on public spending plans. Inflation and high interest rates across the UK, coupled with fed abandonment during the COVID-19 pandemic, have led to an increase in the number of abandoned animals and have stretched the Bristol Animal Rescue Centre to the limit. As a result, the privately funded ARC has had to come up with creative ways to raise funds. Let's see.
The Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals has said it is desperately concerned about soaring animals' abandonments as winter approaches. Up until the end of October, the RSPCA in England and Wales have received more than 17,000 reports of abandoned animals. If the trend continues, it is said it is expected to see around more than 21,000 reports in 2023 compared to the 16,118 reports in 2020.
I definitely think the cost of living crisis that we're experiencing at the moment is a big factor. People just can't afford insurance and veterinary care and, just to look after their dogs in general. A lot of the dogs we get in come in as strays as well, so they're picked up by the dog warden or the police, which obviously gives us sort of limited background or knowledge as to why they were abandoned in the first place. But I think, a big factor at the moment is people actually being able to afford or to live in a place that they're allowed to keep a dog, which is really sad.
Inflation and high interest rates across the UK, plus people abandoning the pets they bought during the COVID-19 pandemic, have led to an increase in abandoned animals, while many rescue centres are full to bursting as they face an unprecedented winter crisis.
At the moment we are just taking in strays because we're experiencing such a high level of dogs coming in. We physically can't accommodate for the strays and for people kind of signing their dogs over. So at the moment it is animals just coming in that have been, as I said, picked up as strays.
The Bristol Animal Rescue Centre has had to come up with creative ways to bring in money. One of the ideas conceived by the staff at the centre was to hold an online mute gala in December, an event inspired by Vogue magazine's Met Gala in New York, where animals' art would be auctioned. Armed only with their snouts, paws, and natural disregard for the rules of composition, Rosie, Alba, and a pack of strays currently boarding at the center have been more than willing to help.
We basically get a canvas, a blank canvas or something similar to that, put some non-toxic paint on the canvas, cling film on top of that, and then we put their favourite treats. So for the dogs here, it's usually squeezy cheese or peanut butter or something like that. And then the dogs will go over, lick it, play with it. Sometimes some of our dogs like to walk on it and kind of use their whole bodies to use it. And it's a really good enrichment activity for them.
Rosie and Alba are hard at work at their canvases, redefining the essence of abstract art, one tail wag at a time. To their untrained eyes, their work at the Bristol Animal Rescue Centre might seem boisterous, childish at a time, and even just plain messy. But the two canines have a much more important job than pleasing the critics.
Oh, Rosie and Alba, yeah, they're pretty good. They might be in the tape one day, but maybe not. We've just done some really nice artwork with them. I'm very proud of them, and I'll hang it up on my wall, definitely.
We have come to the end of this brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscasts and contribute to provide an alternative news source of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Anna Rosabal. Thank you for watching.